So, a while ago, a long while ago, the last chapter of Houseki no Kuni came out, marking the end of the series. And now that it's over, I'm going to give my thoughts on the whole thing. I found Houseki no Kuni in 2021. At the time, I was really into JJK edits, and there was this one song that I really liked. It was Rude by Eternal Youth, I believe. And I listened to it quite a bit because I thought it was really good. So, yeah, eventually the algorithm recognized that I liked this song a lot and started recommending more videos with the music in it. And that got me to this one girl with almost rainbow hair breaking apart as she fights a thing that I didn't know what was. I thought to myself, wow, that's so cool. What is this from? And that's how it started. So I watched the whole show, mourned the fact that there wasn't going to be a season 2, then read the manga, and mourned the fact that Ichikawa was kidnapped by the PS5. She did come back eventually, but gosh darn, I was distraught. I was a Steven Universe fan, so seeing rock people already made me excited. It's also just something familiar to me. But what really captured me was the show being in 3D and also very spacious. It doesn't look like any other anime I've seen. I know that 3D style anime isn't the most popular, just in general, but I really enjoyed it quite a bit. The open space kind of threw me off because I'm not used to anime looking like that. A lot of the things I've seen usually have a lot of character in the background. But Seiki no Kuni was really open, spacious. It was an island with just one building, and it was pretty much plains, which was a little weird at first, but I've come to very much appreciate that. I don't really like reading manga in general. The anime I do watch have manga, but I feel no need to read them because the new episodes would just come out. However, that's not the case here. Only season 1 is out of the anime, and I don't think it's gonna get more seasons, which is such a shame. So I bit the bullet and read the manga. And honestly, it's great because the sparkles in the manga look a lot better against the black and white. It just pops out more. It also interested me because I found out that Buddhism was used a lot. I don't know too much about Buddhism, so I won't speak much on that, but it did make me think. Spoiler warning, but part of the plot was that the Lunarians are trying to make Foss human. And that brings up the question of what does make someone human? I personally can't give you the answer. I'm not that enlightened or smart enough to know. There's probably like some scientific answer, but I'm not gonna go by that. We're doing philosophical. But I will discuss the characters I thought were human and what made them human. Rutile, Daya, and Ghost feel human specifically because their relationship with their partners. Rutile and Ghost are both dedicated to Padparacha and Lapis, respectively, even when their partners are gone. While Daya feels insecure being compared to Bort, and that's a very big factor in her character arc. Euclase's attitude and strategizing while Foss was on the moon felt human. I can't exactly say why, but it's just a feeling. And Karen Gorm is a good example of this as well. And I mean the true Karen Gorm with no influence from Ghost. She seems like one of the most human characters out of all of the Illustrious. She's childish, has strong desires that she'll go after, and honestly is selfish, but, Even as a gem, she never acted like any of the other Illustrious, and she stood out a lot because of that. Of course, Foss has to be mentioned because they technically became human, and I like the way they visually represented that. Personally speaking, I think of humans and the life they live as trees, because no matter how much you grow, you're the same tree, just getting bigger. And you can see that when you cut open a tree and look at its rings. With Foss, parts of her break off and are placed with new ones, but at her core, she's still Foss, even after experiencing all those new things. And at the end, when she's a small rock, she's like her old self. It comes full circle. I think that's really cool. Personally speaking, I love original Foss the most in all of her forms, mainly because I like the way her hair is shaped and it's fun to draw in color. I like her mannerisms, especially in the anime. The voice actor did a phenomenal job with her. My second favorite is her final design when she's in her god form. I don't know, it's abstract, and there's something appealing about that. I feel like all the gems have very interesting hair to look at. either in color or in shape. Like, Bort has probably the plainest hair, but the way it's colored, moves, and shines is very fun to look at. All the characters are the same body type, so the hair is really what makes them stand out. It makes sense to have them be unique and sometimes a little weird, I would say. Also, the transparent and gem aspects of it makes it very fun to color and draw, as I said with Foss. I know I'm only drawing Foss in her many forms, but I do like drawing other gems, specifically for their hair. Typically, when something ends, there's a feeling of sadness or contentness. Because when a series ends, it either ends with everything wrapped up in a little bow with all your questions answered, or not, and you're pulling out your hair wondering what happened. I didn't feel either with Houseki no Kuni. Not happy, nor very sad. It was just like, yep, that's the end of it. Kind of weird because we ended where we started, with Foss being the youngest of all of her family, and just being sweet and innocent. We've practically come back full circle in that regard. I think that's intentional, though. But to me, it just feels like the end. I'm not really interested or yearning for more context or explanation or even a story about what happened after. Not really even interested what happened to everyone who was prayed away. But I also don't see it as everything being tied up in a nice bow with all our questions answered. And that doesn't seem to bother me at all. It's just how it ended, and somehow I think it's meant to be like that. You may or may not disagree with me because there's a lot of things we could ask about this series, but personally, I have no other concerns or questions that are lingering in the back of my mind. Of course, it's sad to see something end because that means there's gonna be no more of it. And that's how I feel about the series, but as far as the story goes, I do believe this is where it should end. It feels right.